It was supposed to be just another drive home. A quiet, lonely road stretching for miles, the hum of the engine filling the silence. Oliver tapped his fingers against the steering wheel, his mind drifting between exhaustion and the promise of his warm bed. The road was empty, as it always was at this hour, just him and the endless stretch of pavement cutting through the thick woods on either side. Then, out of nowhere, the headlights flickered. Just a split second of darkness before they returned, but enough to send a shiver up his spine. He frowned and tapped the dashboard. "Not tonight," he muttered. A few more miles, and then the radio crackled. The old static-filled station he had on for background noise warped and twisted, the music distorting into an eerie whine. He reached out to switch it off, but just as his fingers brushed the dial, a voice cut through the interference. "You need to turn around." Oliver's hand froze. The voice was flat, monotone, neither male nor female. It didn't belong to any station he'd ever listened to. He glanced at the screen, no station name, just a flickering string of numbers that didn't make sense. His stomach knotted. The headlights flickered again. The road ahead seemed darker now, as if the night itself had thickened. He swallowed hard and kept driving, brushing off the voice as a weird radio glitch. Then he saw it. A figure standing at the edge of the road. At first, it looked like a deer, the way it stood still, barely illuminated by his high beams. But as he neared, his breath caught in his throat. It wasn't a deer. It wasn't an animal at all. A person. Or at least, something shaped like one. It was tall, unnaturally tall. Its arms hung too long at its sides, almost reaching its knees. The head was tilted slightly, as if observing him, though no eyes could be seen in the darkness. The figure didn't move, didn't flinch as the car approached. Oliver's fingers tightened around the wheel. He drove past, refusing to look directly at it. His pulse pounded in his ears. Just a trick of the light. Just exhaustion. Just, the radio crackled again. "You should have turned around." His breath hitched. He looked in the rearview mirror. The figure was gone. Oliver exhaled sharply, shaking his head. It was nothing. Just his mind playing tricks on him. He pressed down on the gas, eager to put distance between himself and whatever he had or hadn't seen. But then, the headlights flickered again. And the road. The road was different. He knew this stretch. He had driven it countless times. But now, the trees seemed taller, closer, their branches hanging lower like grasping fingers. The air in the car felt heavy, thick, pressing against his skin. And then he saw the sign. A road sign, rusted and bent, on the side of the road. "Welcome to Blackwater." His stomach dropped. There was no town called Blackwater. Not here. Not anywhere near his route. He had never seen this sign before in his life. He slammed on the brakes, his breathing ragged. His mind raced, trying to make sense of it. Had he taken a wrong turn? Had he? The radio whispered. "You can't leave." Oliver's hands shook as he reached for his phone. No service. The battery, full just minutes ago, was now at 1% before the screen went black. He looked up. And the figure was standing in the middle of the road. Closer this time. He couldn't see its face. He didn't want to. The air grew colder. His breath came out in shallow puffs, fogging up the windshield. The silence was suffocating, pressing into his ears like cotton. Then, ever so slowly, the figure moved. Not walked. Not ran. Just shifted. As if the space between them had simply shrunk in an instant. It was closer now, inches from the hood of the car. A low, creaking sound filled the night, like bones bending the wrong way. Oliver's body screamed at him to move, to drive, to do anything but sit there frozen in fear. With a choked breath, he slammed his foot on the gas. The tires screeched, the car lunged forward and hit nothing. The road ahead was empty again. The figure was gone. Oliver didn't stop. He drove faster, gripping the wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. The road stretched on, endless, the trees blurring past him. He didn't dare look in the mirror. He didn't dare turn the radio back on. And then the headlights flickered one last time. And the sign appeared again. Welcome to Blackwater. The realization sank in, cold and unforgiving. He had never left.